We saw a lot of characters getting buffed in update 1.2.0 in Granblue Fantasy Relink. Some were in the form of direct buffs, whereas some others were indirect buffs in the form of the Warpath sigils. These allowed characters that were previously underperforming to deal a lot more damage and actually be competitive, but somewhere along the new patch the developers ended up breaking some characters and made them completely overpowered. This is not the same thing as the Id, Siegfried or Charlotta buffs. No, this is something way more insane that allows characters to deal a lot more damage, and I think it might actually end up being removed from the game. But while this is still available in Granblue Fantasy Relink, allow me to show you how you can make your characters that much more powerful in update 1.2.0. With that being said, hello everyone, my name is Dark Hero and welcome back to another Relink video. I hope you are all having fun with the game and let's get started. So with update 1.2.0, Lancelot got a huge buff in the form of his new Warpath sigil. This sigil is going to grant Lancelot 10% enhanced damage, which goes above the damage cap, for 30 seconds after landing a combo finisher or performing a perfect dodge with the Twin Blade Dance. I know it says Warble Wind in there, but you can see here in the support skills that that's the action you do when you do the Blade Dance. And given that you can go with a build like this for Lancelot, where you take Flight over Fight with Nimble Onslaught and Glass Cannon, which is going to guarantee that all of your dodges count as perfect dodges, and whenever you do so you get 6 seconds of invincibility, and reduce your skill cooldown and gain SPA gauge by 5% each time you do it. So with that, it's going to be very easy for you to trigger the Warpath, which is going to allow you to deal more damage. And then of course there's the White Dragon's Oath, which is going to grant more damage to your Twin Blade Dance and also increase the movement range. And then we have a couple of Alpha sigils together with a couple of Gamma sigils, because with this build you're going to be focusing on simply using the Twin Blade Dance, which counts as normal attacks, and the Alpha sigil is going to raise the damage cap of the normal attacks. So this is very important, and additionally you get the extra benefit of providing 30% SPA gauge to your allies whenever you use your own SPA. And with this build you're going to be able to activate a lot of Skybound arts throughout the entirety of a quest, and each time you do it you're going to boost the Skybound art of everybody else in the party, so that is going to make Lancelot even more powerful. And then of course the Gamma sigils are going to raise the overall damage cap by 30% and provide you with a shield to nullify up to 50,000 damage after you activate your Skybound art. And because we're going to be using so many of them throughout the quest, we're going to pretty much have the shield active at all times. Granted that with Nimble Onslaught and Flight over Fight, we really wouldn't need that shield, but it's nice to have that extra safety. And then Tyranny, Stamina, Supplementary Damage, Glass Cannon, and War Elemental, you add all of these on top just to deal more damage. We don't have enough room to add more Supplementary Damage sigils because otherwise I would, and because we are essentially never going to be getting hit, we can of course take Glass Cannon to increase the damage we deal. And of course if you have some extra traits that you can add to your build, ideally you would add Cascade and Quick Cooldown so you can use more skills to do more damage. However, this build does not take advantage of the new tech that has been found for Lancelot that allows him to deal millions of damage throughout the entirety of a quest. Seriously, the amount of damage that you can get out of this trick is insane. So let me show you that in action. This is going to solely revolve around Lancelot's projectile skill, and it's going to work much in the same way as the Cagliostro bug that I showed you in the previous video. So let's go ahead and use this skill once so you can see the damage. I'll show you the build in a moment, but as you can see I hit for 62,000 damage for a single hit, which really isn't a whole lot. Now if I were to use the bug, let me show you how much damage I would be able to get from this. As you can see, the damage from that single projectile jumped up to 562,000 damage. I almost dealt 10 times more damage by doing this. So what's the trick here? Well, it's quite simple really. Whenever you throw this projectile and you dodge as it is connecting with the enemy, you're going to be dealing extra damage, like you saw right there. Now because the projectile is so fast, it's actually a bit tricky to get this to work with a dodge. If I am at this distance, I'm able to pull it off consistently. But if I am any closer to the target dummy, it's going to be a lot harder for me to trigger this. Right there I actually did it, but I got lucky. I tend to have more trouble getting this to trigger. So alternatively, what I found you can do is actually block as the projectile is hitting the enemy. And as you can see, it's simply a lot easier for you to be able to do this. And if I keep on spamming this, the damage output is actually going to be increased. And again, over the course of an entire quest, this is going to allow you to reach into the millions of damage with Lancelot very easily. Now the build that I'm running for this is very simple. The idea of the build here is just try to stack as many attack and damage increasing skills as you can, and because this bug removes the damage cap from the skill, you can actually go ahead and not use a single damage cap sigil. So as you can see, I have a Tyranny sigil, critical hit damage, skilled assault, combo booster. I'm not 100% sure if War Elemental is going to work here, critical hit rate with stamina, and I maxed out the supplementary damage because that of course is going to allow me to deal more damage. Now the only signature sigil that I am running on this build is the White Dragon's Glory, and this one is quite simply going to increase my damage by up to 50% as long as I keep on hitting the enemy within a 2.5 second window. It's pretty much the same thing as combo booster, although in a separate sigil, so getting this is going to allow you to deal more damage, of course. Now I think it's also important to try to get quick cooldown as well as cascade, although I don't like cascade as much on this build because in order to trigger cascade effectively you should be doing more combo finishers, and so quick cooldown is going to give you a better bang for your buck if you're not going to be doing a lot of combo finishers. I also maxed out Nimble Onslaught because I do like having that extra invincibility, and whenever I perfect dodge I'm going to be getting that extra skill cooldown, which is going to allow me to keep on using this bug to deal more damage more often. And of course, if you have a party that is well set up to allow you to do this more often, the damage output that you'll be able to get from Lancelot and this build is going to be insane. But as I said at the beginning of the video, Lancelot is not the only character that can bug abuse like this. Now I have already shown you how you can do this bug with Cagliostro, and how she can also deal tons of damage with the same bug by using Alexandria and dodging right away. I mean, just look at those numbers. But besides these two, there's actually two more characters that are also capable of doing the same thing, and one of them takes it to a whole new level. So the next one is none other than Zeta. So Zeta actually got some pretty sizable buffs in the new update, and on top of that she saw the addition of the Crimson Warpath sigil, which is very good, that will not only boost Zeta's critical hit rate against an enemy that is affected by the Arves Formare debuff, but will also grant her a 15% enhanced damage whenever attacking an enemy that has that same debuff. And given that Zeta's entire game plan is all about inflicting the enemy with that Arves Formare debuff to deal more damage, with this sigil you are essentially able to remove any critical hit rate sigils that you have, and you can even remove the critical hit rate Brightstone from your weapon. And on top of that, you will have that enhanced 15% damage that goes above the damage cap. Additionally, with the sigil, Zeta now gains the ability to inflate the Arves Formare debuff by simply parrying an enemy with her triangle attack. Like so. It was already very easy for you to inflict this debuff on the enemy since you could just use Infinite Wonders that you have many charges of, and additionally you can also do the normal combo loop, and after doing this loop for 3 times, you'll be able to perform the combo finisher and inflict that same debuff on the enemy. But on top of all of that, like the previous characters on this video, Zeta now has access to the same bug that removes the damage cap from Infinite Wonders. So if I were to use it right now, I deal 370,000 damage. But if I were to dodge just after I fire the Infinite Wonders, I'll be able to deal a lot more damage. As you can see right there, I dealt almost 1 million damage with that same hit. Now I've been testing this at several ranges, and it's a lot easier for me to do this while I'm at close range. And here in the target dummy you will actually get a nice sound cue whenever you do this properly. Like so. It's a bit hard to explain, but you have to wait a little bit before you do the skill, because if you do it right away you're just going to cancel it like so. So do spend some time here in the training area, and if you do hear that sound cue of doing additional hits, that is the key to dealing the most damage with Zeta with this bug. So all in all, Zeta was already a very powerful character that was massively buffed in update 1.2.0, and she was already very powerful with the addition of the Lucilius sigils, so adding this Infinite Wonders bug on top, she is an insanely powerful character. Now the next character is one that I'm sure not a lot of you were expecting, but it's none other than the Captain. Now the Captain did receive a really cool Warpath sigil that works perfectly for their playstyle, enhancing the damage dealt by the Captain whenever reaching a high hearts level, with this enhanced damage going up to 10% at level 4 and resetting back down once you get back to level 1. But again, that's not why we're here. In truth, the Captain has pretty much the same bug as Zeta and all the other characters I've shown in this video, where dodging at the right time after using Reg and Leave is going to allow you to remove the damage cap of the skill and deal a lot more damage. And the damage damage output that you can get from this is absolutely absurd, even much more powerful than all the other characters I've shown so far. I'm gonna give a shout out to the creator Grand Sky Ace that has also showcased some of these bugs with the other characters, and they have been able to reach 230 million damage in the 60-second test by abusing this bug on the captain. So if I were to do a regular Regin leave, I will be doing 113,000 damage. My current build is not very well optimized, but then again, if you want to deal as much damage as possible with this bug, you'll want to go with a build that I showed you previously where you try to stack as much attack as possible. And if I were to dodge right as I use Regin leave, as you can see, my damage went up to 253,000 damage. Again, my current build is very unoptimized, but the idea is still the same, and to stack as many attack and damage increasing options as possible. But as you can see, the current meta of Granblue Fantasy Relink is absolutely crazy. Now I do want to ask you guys if you feel like I should take these bugs into consideration when making my next tier list, because I do believe that these bugs will eventually be fixed by the developers, much like they removed some of the previous interactions and some skill cancels that we saw before. That being said, it's not like there aren't already very powerful and broken things in this game, so at the same time I really don't mind if the developers decide to keep this in the game. But let me know how you guys feel about this in the comment section below, and is there a character that you feel was buffed but people are not talking about enough? With that being said, my name is Dark Hero, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, happy hunting!